I'm Bill Arnone. I have the honor of chairing the Board of Directors of the National Academy of Social Insurance. And it's just looking out tonight at a spectacular gathering. It really bodes well for the future of the Academy and the tribute we're going to be formally presenting tonight to Marilyn. I was asked to chair the board about a year ago, and my first question was, well, what am I supposed to do? And I would say, well, you have to preside over board meetings. I go, well, what else? There were about a whole list of things. I kept saying, what else? What else? What else? Oh, by the way, you get to present the Robert Ball Award. I said, I accept the position. It's really one of the highlights of our year as the Academy. When I look out at all of you and I see the collection of brain power dedicated to social insurance, I can't help but paraphrase something President Kennedy once said: never has there been such a gathering of intellectual firepower in the field of social insurance in one room, with the possible exception of when Bob Ball dined all by himself here at the National. My thanks on behalf of the Academy go to Kathleen Sebelius, Bill Gradison, Karen Davis for the comments you made this evening in tribute to Marilyn. It's really made this evening truly memorable. As you know, the Academy was founded in 1986. It's been quite a journey. And it was one of Bob Ball's visions, to have a nonprofit entity that specialized in all aspects of social insurance and could groom future leaders in this complicated field. And Marilyn was one of the founding members back then of the Academy. So her fingerprints are all over this organization. We're still in a battle to promote public understanding of social insurance. Why do we have these programs? So the Academy's mission, which is to advance solutions to the challenges facing the nation that are susceptible to a social insurance solution, never ends. And it's with voices like Marilyn's that enable us to continue this ongoing challenge. Like Bob Ball and like previous winners of this award, some of whom are with us tonight. Is Steve Goss here? Steve, previous winner of the award. Bob Reischauer, you already heard from. Bob won the award previously. Bob. You've heard Bruce Vladeck mentioned that he regrets terribly not being here, but he was also a previous recipient of the Bob Ball Award. Like them, Marilyn is committed to strengthening social insurance and really facing head-on, candidly, with intellectual honesty, the challenges that constantly we face when it comes to supporting and promoting and justifying social insurance programs. Marilyn's track record is incomparable. She's been a true leader, a dedicated public servant. I had the pleasure tonight of sitting next to her husband, Douglas. Behind every married woman is a husband who is supporting her efforts. So Douglas, you've heard about all the different hats that Marilyn has worn, not the least of which was she was a public trustee. She wrote a columnist for the Washington Post. Someone suggested I refer to that as moonlighting, but I would never, ever make a terrible pun like that. And in everything she has done, she has used diligent research and unquestionable facts to promote solutions. And that really is what the National Academy tries to do. So, Marilyn, your work, starting 3 decades ago with positions at the Congressional Budget Office, the Urban Institute, AARP, and currently as an Institute Fellow and Director of AIR's Center on Aging, which is a path-breaking effort in and of itself. You have influenced countless policymakers and really, as we've heard before, impacted the lives of millions of Americans, including the most vulnerable of our citizens. One of my passions as the chair of our board, and some of you who work at the Academy are probably tired of hearing me saying this, is not to call us NACI. We are the Academy, the National Academy of Social Insurance. It's going to take a while, but I'll feel really good when we call it a few extra syllables. But I have another reason for that. Marilyn and her husband are movie buffs. And I've always wanted to be able to say, the Academy Award goes to. So, it reads, the National Academy of Social Insurance presents the Robert M. Ball Award for 2014 for outstanding achievements in social insurance to Marilyn Moon. Marilyn?
Okay. Here you go. The two of them.
Hey, all right.
Now you can pick it back. I don't want to drop it. Thank you very much. This is a really strange and kind of surreal experience, and I really appreciate you all coming. But I feel kind of odd about the whole thing. There's just something kind of strange about listening to people talk about you, where you're not quite sure that that's right, and you want to get up and correct the record a little bit now and then. But nonetheless, I thought, well, okay, how am I going to handle this? And so I decided I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to say, yes, absolutely. I deserve this award. And in fact, if you saw the pictures that were shown here when I was asked to provide some pictures, one of the ones I decided to provide was the, as a good healthcare economist, was the clinic charges for my delivery and my first well baby visit of $3. We are not solving the healthcare problems yet, but that's something I hope to do before I retire. So even then, I was interested. And you've heard a lot about Kansas. I was interested in Kansas that also had a crucible kind of effect on me in terms of Medicare as well. When I was in high school, we debated the proposition of whether or not there should be social insurance healthcare program for senior citizens. And if you were in Kansas, you always wanted to be on the negative. You would always win on the negative, not on the positive. But nonetheless, a little bit of a contrarian. I decided that I still like the positive as well. I also have to thank some people tonight. One of the people that I want to thank is my father, who, if you were at the reception earlier, you heard a little bit about. My father knew Bob Dole. I was one of 5 children. I have 4 brothers that did 2 major things for me. One is it means that I could speak without a microphone tonight if necessary and be heard. The second is that my father wasn't very much of a fan of women's rights, though nonetheless, when there were 5 of us, just couldn't quite distinguish. So he did a very nice job of making me an independent thinker and helping raise me to think on my own. It made him a little unhappy later in his life when he learned that that's part of what he had achieved. But nonetheless, it was great growing up in Kansas and has an impact. I also want to thank all the role models and mentors and colleagues that I've had over the years, and I don't want to try to mention everybody because that would be tough, and it would mean I'd leave somebody out and I'd get really bad publicity later on. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that I think what's really important for women of my generation is the importance not only of having role models and mentors, but often we didn't have as many role models and mentors as we might have liked. And instead, we relied upon really good friends and colleagues. And I have been very fortunate over the years to have so many of them, a number of people here in this audience. And some people that I'm going to just call out tonight, and nonetheless, Judy Fader, Catherine McLaughlin, Kathy Swartz, Karen Politz, Linda Blumberg, We call ourselves Women of Self-Indulgence, and we get together periodically and talk about all of you. And as well as share tips and other things about surviving in this world. But seriously, it is really wonderful to have colleagues like that you can rely on. And for all of you young interns and other folks who are just coming up in this world, it is really what makes life as a researcher, as an analyst, and so forth worthwhile, because you really can depend upon friends, and it makes things really interesting and exciting. And finally, I have to say thank you very much to my husband, Douglas Gumry, who is my cheerleader, my role model, my confidant, and puts me to shame in terms of publications and other things. So if you believe any of that publicity you heard about me tonight, he puts me to shame. There we go.